Did I miss a gag?
That timing!
Like, genuinely, if he'd have dragged you first, that would have gone so much better.
I'm guessing you weren't PG at that point.
No, he was. No, it was totally PG. It was just what he said. Anyway, hi, Paul.
Hey.
Why?
Right, so the money is down to 241,000, down from up 500 because we paid our loan back.
You had to make it an uneven figure, didn't you? You couldn't just do it like 250 round.
Wait, what? I deducted 270 from our total. I didn't make the number up.
Oh, that was... Oh, really? Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Puppies, why are you closing? Just stop it. Stop messing with the door. Just sit in the corner. Don't move.
He needs to be put in a cage like Pippa, Paul.
You're not joking.
I'm in the corner.
Right then. So, we've researched everything. Is there anything, like, hang on a sec. Is there anything west of here or not? Do we know?
Not as
No
far
idea.
as I am aware. Having regen the seed number from this and done a fly with the blackbird out that way, there wasn't much. There was a couple of mini islands, but nothing major.
Right, so it's essentially this cluster.
So, yeah, essentially you've got everything that you need to the south, Sawyer Island to the west, and then obviously the Arctic to the north.
I mean, there were missions up in the north, wasn't there, that we could have done? Like the Arctic
Yeah,
missions.
I mean, we're getting pretty close to being able to handle an Arctic mission. We do kind of want to buy the airbase up there so that we can spawn vehicles in up there that aren't bigger than railway tracks. So,
we can technically afford the airstrip if that's what you mean.
well, me and Pups were thinking we'll go and do a fuel run in the boat rather than using the chopper.
Okay.
But we didn't know what you were planning or
Well,
thinking or scheming or...
If you, how about this then? You do the fuel run, I'll do some avionics stuff, and then we'll make some money to buy the island, and then go up there and try and do some missions.
Yes,
But
that's good.
I'll need to know what to put on the plane to make it possible to do missions up there, though.
Arctic gear.
We got Arctic gear, haven't we? We got a heater and some Arctic gear. Anything to
Oh,
watch
no,
out
it
for
says-
is the flat battery
says-
syndrome.
It says Whiteland's playing Stormworks.
Quick, change the password. Quick.
Yeah. Well, at least you know what I want for food tonight, Sammy.
That's not a bad shout, actually, and I could have that delivered.
Oh, see? Now Paul be the odd one out.
Right, curly toes.
Not if Mrs. Squirrel is watching the stream.
That was funny.
Let's quickly remind ourselves what the avionics look like. So the problem is this thing runs flat now because of the doors and stuff. I wonder if we can just put a master breaker on the outside so everything's shut off or something.
You could do.
I can't think how else because the doors are just going to constantly take power.
I mean, it depends on what you think. I mean, you could, in theory, design a door on sliders and put a locking mechanism on it so that then it won't drain power.
A door on sliders, what do you mean?
So you can actually use, you know, the compact track. You can use one to push the door out and then a section to move the door along, and then you can have a lock on the end of it.
But won't a lock take power?
No, weirdly.
The first thing I do is get those screens to be not powered. At the moment, these screens are on a permanent keep alive. So we need to make it so that these screens are turned on by something. Probably have an avionics button, maybe. Let's see what buttons we've got here. We've got an auto hover button that you'd never control. The door control button, engine start. Let's think. That's the altitude hold, which was going to move at some point. Have a separate battery for the doors. I don't know how that really helps us. That's the thing.
Right, so I have a keep alive block in here, pups.
Okay.
Because, like, when the battery on the door drains,
Happy anniversary.
you're kind of in trouble. You can't get in or out, can you? I don't know. I'm gonna disable the avionics first and see what that gets us. I'll have an overhead button for that. So there's the engine start. We'll have avionics here. So we'll send that to the monitor 1 and 2. And we'll label it avionics.
Where's the gantry?
Over the boat.
And the door constantly opens and closes, so you can get in
Yeah,
if
no, it's not.
you time it correctly. I don't know. It kind of goes soft and just sits there. I don't know if you can push it at that point. Right, so avionics are off now.
I think I might do a reinstall.
Why have you got desync?
I've got so much desync.
I forgot where this goes.
Any of the connectors, because you can crossfeed it, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
So that battery's still draining quite a bit.
All right, let's stand up here in the
Let's
dry.
open the door, make it to where they're open if the battery goes low.
Oh, the gantry's moved now.
I'm not sure you can. Like, you
Oh,
can
no,
make it
why
go
not
open,
it?
but then once the battery dies, all the control systems that go with it are dead. And also, you need to link that battery to the generator somehow, which then creates a route through to the other batteries. Unless it has its own dedicated generator, which is crazy. Manual doors an option. Well, you can do custom doors. The problem with custom doors is you have to make like a door frame and stuff. You have the door frame like corners like this, which are quite big. So you end up with like taking most of the space. Like if I put that there where that door is, my door is now the inside of this. So the frame would have to sit, you know, like here and here and here like that, which makes a massive frame just to have a door that big. You don't need sealed door for aircraft. You don't, but people were saying you could have a sealed door and then you can disable the power to the door and just like lock it. If a central battery connected to the generator by a breaker, they only equalize if the engine's on. What, and then have that battery connect to the door, you mean? Is that what you mean? Let's have a look at the electrics.
Oh no, it's going to take 46 seconds to reinstall Stormworks.
46 seconds? You need a faster internet.
Like, genuinely, a game with this much detail is only an install that big is just ridiculous, isn't it? I think I was scrolling through my program files the other day, and like Red Dead is like 120 gig or something ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's not quite as janky as this.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know.
It's your monkey.
There are
Thank you for 3 months.
standards,
Drunk
but,
Gamers,
like,
thank you for 14.
how can
Dorita with 11.
a game be that big with this much detail?
You genuinely make me feel happy, and this community is also outstanding. Dorita, that's awesome, mate. Thank you. Red Dead's not janky. It's awesome. Right, so this is electric generator connecting straight to the battery store, I believe. Yes, there's 2 batteries in there. And the batteries are directly connected It's that generator. And then that battery goes into this relay here, which then goes across to there. So the electric connector feeds directly to the batteries. And after that, the only thing that's connected is the relay. And the relay goes to a few things. It goes up to the main breaker. It goes to the door. It goes to that door. And then it goes to the fuel connections and the push button. And the fuel sensor display on the back. So if you want to fuel, you need to have power on the connectors and the fuel display.
I'm back.
You could, in theory,
Yay, do you want to drive?
you could, in
Yeah, if
theory,
you
put
wanted
a
to.
separate breaker for
Can't remember
refueling.
how it works.
Check the data connection for the screen from the microcontrollers. I believe you disconnected them while connecting the button. Did I?
Yeah, can't see a thing.
The video feed's still there. That's what you mean. Or did I disconnect something else? Well, the red isn't data. The red's on off. The green is data. So what I tried to connect was the map active displays. That one and that one. I've just tested it. The doors only use 0.0001 power when opening or closing, none when open or closed. That's interesting. So what's taking the power then? Okay, I need to work out where the power drain is. There's only so many places it can be going. If you're saying the door isn't doing it, if you're saying the door isn't it, the only other thing it could be is that display and the power connectors. Because that's the only other thing that's on. Nah. I got sent a key for Drug Dealer Sim and I'm like, I ain't playing that. I don't want to go anywhere near that. Now the screens are disabled now. See, anything that goes after this breaker here is not on by default. The breaker's off by default. So it's not these screens. So I'm kind of wondering if it's this. Let's just disconnect that and see what happens.
Right, as far as my map knowledge goes, there's nothing in front of us.
Disclaimer.
Well, I haven't got radar on this thing, so
Happy anniversary,
anything can happen.
matter.
Nerdy Drew, thank you for 38 months.
Yeah, you're clear.
That's going down, look. 0.99, 0.98. .97, so still
Haven't
draining.
you turned your detailed view on, Paul?
So what?
Haven't you turned your detailed view on? You need to go into the menu.
The menu, the options.
Yeah, if you go into options and then general, yeah, tooltip detail is in the bottom left corner.
I think you can get it via doing the page up key or something, can't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Hang on, let's put that on simple. Look at something, press page up. Yeah, if you hold page up, you get more detail.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to have it on all the time. That's pretty
Correct. Primary 0, secondary, backlight false, electric
Go and
0.0.
like, hover over the door and see if it's taking electric.
Okay, well the electric fuel connector is... And it's only showing me total power. It's not really showing me... I think it's showing me the electric across the system, so it doesn't really show you drain as such.
Yeah. Why are we so close to the bridge?
Because I can't see a thing. I already told you that.
It's big enough.
Any buttons are on by default.
Yeah, if it had
Active
some
buttons
lights
use
on it, that would
power.
have been more helpful.
Yeah, but how much power are we talking here? I mean, that button's on by default. Okay, so if I
Do you
disconnect
remember
these
the
doors,
jet fuel code, Sammy?
I disconnect the doors from the power.
1863.
The only thing that's connected now is a relay that's turned off and fuel connectors. That's it. That's like literally it. I still think it's the doors personally, but we'll see. The doors are flopping around now. And that power is still draining.
Okay, this ain't doing anything for me.
Master switch on the deck for the pumps. Yeah, that one.
So how's that draining power? Hey, Duke Norris. Yeah, it's draining at the same rate as before. So what on earth is the drain? Okay, we're down to one fuel connector and a relay that is turned off by default.
No, Whiteland.
That's crazy.
Happy anniversary, Nutter.
D. Thomas, you can see exactly. It doesn't matter what components I have. It matters what
You can
electrical
probably reach
connections
that
I
line
have.
in a bit. No, pups.
That fuel connector that I was looking at is only connected to a few things. The breaker that's off
This ain't the best location for these.
and the
Sammy.
relay that goes to the
No, but it
batteries.
depends on what side you are,
This
isn't it?
thing,
There's one this
and
side
this
as
thing.
well.
That's it. It's like
Didn't see
literally
that
it.
one.
You don't think I'd just put one on, do you? I mean, give me some credit.
Okay, here we go. So instead of connecting this to the relay,
Once I've built a custom door for this, obviously these won't stick out so much, but they don't really affect you walking around too much.
right, battery is connected to fuel connector. That's it. It doesn't get any simpler than this. Aha! No power drain. Okay. At least we've got something sensible. Now we connect battery to door. And the door is not draining power. Interesting.
I'll be right back a second.
So that proves the door is not draining power. What if... It's the electric generator, isn't it? What if I connect the generator to that thing? Nope. No drain there. I'm beginning to think it's the relay, which would be the most unbelievably stupid thing. Okay, and so... So I'm going to make the battery go into relay A, and then relay B go to that. So all I've done, instead of the power going straight to the connector, it's going through the relay. That's it. That's the only difference. it's not the relay. Could it be the electrical connector? The plot thickens. What if I link the batteries together? Make them both go into electric A.
Welcome back, Nutter.
What am I troubleshooting? Power loss? NGT, thank you for gifting us up to No Ordinary Pancake. This is weird. So the final connection to go from B up to that breaker. Boom. Okay, so that loses power. Now the breaker is off. So my next question is it that breaker or is it any breaker? I'm going to stick a breaker on the outside. I'm going to set it to off. I'm going to have the battery go into A, and then it's going to go out of B into that fuel connector. A and B on the breaker are connected together. Let's have a look.
But
Welcome back.
cool.
Yes,
So
they
how
are.
long do we have to wait for it to be full?
So that was the
Well, I
problem.
was then working. Funny enough, I was then hitting.
That was the
my
entire problem
calculator to
all
see
along.
What's going on? So
That's awesome.
I think in order for this to be completely full, it's an hour. But the worrying thing is the unload would take 190 minutes, which is just a little bit over 3 hours, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, look at that.
So we'll have to make a judgment call as to whether we think we've got enough stream time left in order to.
Phoenix, thank you for gifting us up to Stormworks. Lol,
We're
Phoenix.
topping her up, Whiteland.
Well, look at that. I don't need an avionics button anymore.
Have a look at the dial on the side, Whiteland.
Happy anniversary, Nutter.
It still doesn't answer the question, where's the power going, but that's definitely better.
Welcome back, Nutter.
Nice one, Lacnic. Yeah, so the problem was on the breaker, I'd managed to bridge the power connector between the breaker, which thus rendered it not a breaker anymore. So the breaker was never actually breaking. And that was the reason it depleted. I don't know if that's the same on the plane. I do not know. I'd have to go and check that. But we'll still have a toggle button for avionics.
I mean, Sammy, if you want to go and do stuff, carry on and I'll wait here.
Well, I'm not.
Monitor.
See if we take
monitor.
full load of this or just take what we can take in your fuel Good thing.
Well, that's 26,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which would be a half load for this.
Test breaker's already gone. I reloaded. Because it does beg the question then, where is the power going?
I mean, in theory, it's got keep alive block in it, so we could all just carry on doing other things, and then we'll have a quick curly toes flight over to here. Then I can pick you up back at, you know.
Do we have any missions?
Well, we could sleep for one.
There's a transfer fishing person, which could be done.
So the power just keeps going down. Makes me wonder where the power's going to. You bet the screens and microcontrollers suck up the power. The screens are off, that's the thing. I just put an avionics button in there. So the monitors are powered off when this is happening. But I don't think you don't wire microcontrollers to the power anyway, so they don't actually drain power, bizarrely enough. But something in the system here, drains power. I'll tell you what I can do. I can turn off the instrument relay so that nothing around that area in the cockpit gets power. And you haven't done... This won't work now, I don't think. Meh. Well, it's still displaying a value, and that value is going down. So whatever the problem is, it's not coming from anything connected to that breaker. It's coming from something else. The drain's somewhere else. What would drain the system? If the auto button's always active, isn't it using all the sensors to essentially keep it steady? Well, I mean, the sensors are all powered the moment you throw the breaker, I guess. Yeah, we'll get rid of the auto hover. The gyro. Let's disconnect the gyro from the system and test it. It's still going down. Well, Blade, in theory, it's driven by that anyway. It gets turned on when you throw the master breaker.
anniversary, Nutter.
Speed up. Thank you for 29 months. I don't know what's draining the system. So
50 minutes.
that's draining no power now.
Okay.
With the master breaker turned off, that's not taking any power. So I think it may be just the sensors and stuff when you throw the breaker.
Happy anniversary, Nutter.
Well, the breaker B is connected to a few things. It goes to the clutch and the lights and all that kind of stuff. Well, it can't be the gyro because I just disconnected the gyro from the main power. The gyro isn't taking anything. Alan K, thank you for 22 months. We are well, mate. Thank you. I mean, the lights aren't going to take anything, are they, when they're not actually switched on? I'm taking it the sensors take power. There are some sensors that take power, aren't there? Like, these lights are not going to take any power, but like that one there, the compass sensor, presumably that draws power to do its job. You send that. I turned that off, didn't I? So in theory, none of that was getting power anyway. So that sensor wasn't taking power. The laser is coming from the master breaker. Well, that's going down a lot slower. That is definitely slower than when the laser was on. Yeah, the issue is trying to work out where the battery drains are coming from, so I can avoid flat batteries. I'm just trying to understand it. If I put that back on now... So the laser sensor definitely takes power. See, not moving, throw that on. Look at that. That comes down so quickly. So the laser sensor is a big power draw. We can answer that question. So if we get rid of that one for now, what else would take power? What's this? Fuel. Any more sensors going on? What about this thing? What about the winch and stuff? Do you think the winch would take power? There's an engine relay down here. The winch will take power. Right, well, it's getting its power from... Let's think. It's connecting the engine, the lights. How does it get power? Tell you what, let's just turn it off. Turn off the engine relay. You should install a separate breaker for lights and 4 lasers. Well, the laser and compass sensor I'm going to put on an avionics breaker. Okay, no drain. No drain. Okay, we're getting there. So we'll put that relay back on. Okay, so that's where it gets its power from the... It's driven by the main breaker. So it needs to be on its own breaker. No, it's not a relay issue, no. So the GPS sensor, that's definitely going to take power, isn't it? We take that off there and see if the GPS takes power. Oh, this autosave. So annoying. There you go. So it's basically the laser sensor and the GPS sensor draining power. If we turn off the... If we put the instrument relay back on, is that one. But then disconnect the power from... Wait, why have I got two GPS sensors? I appear to have two GPS sensors. I think. I've got one here that's not being used. Hang on a sec. Okay, ignore that. I'll fix that in a minute. We don't need this front GPS sensor. So we get rid of that. Wait, I've got 3 GPS sensors. What's going on? One for X, one for Y. No,
Do you ever get lost, Paul?
no, they chuck out X and Y. Dude, this is amazing.
Like, why is there 3?
I don't know.
Understand 2. but
Redundancy.
3?
Let's get rid of those 2. And we know we've got a compass sensor, but I don't know if that drains power yet. I can cope with multiple failures, though.
Yeah, that would be fine if they were wired to do that.
There you go. So the compass sensor doesn't take power. The GPS sensor does. Right, okay, I can work with this. So I'm going to load it back in. We'll load it back in now. And we're going to need... Let's think. We have a relay down here that we can turn on and off. We have a relay up here that we can turn on and off. First problem I want to address is the GPS sensor. We don't need 2 of them. We'll get rid of this one.
Yeah, pups, I might get rid of that rotating pivot.
What one?
Because it just takes power and there's not really any need for it. It doesn't do anything. It's just for looks, you know.
That's not needed. And there was 2 in here for some obscure reason. Triple redundancy. Amazing. So I've got 1 there, 1 here, but only that one's being used. This one is not being used.
Happy anniversary, Natter.
Use instruments panel to have multiple breakers in one block if you didn't already. I'm just going to do it from buttons for now, I think. Everest, thank you for 9 months. Right, that should reduce the load a little bit. So now we want an avionics type thing. I don't think we need this button, honestly. Door control, avionics. Why is it copying the wrong block? We're doing a control click on the breaker, and it's not copying the breaker. It's so weird.
Happy anniversary, Nutter.
Oh, which way around does that need to be? We could say avionics on its own breaker. Old Rumsey, thank you for 5 months. Alan K, thank you for 22, sir. We're doing well. Right, so when the main breaker's thrown, which is B on the here, that will go to A on the avionics breaker. And then the avionics breaker will go to all the avionics stuff. So that will be the compass sensor, the GPS sensor, the laser sensor. And I don't think speed sensors have power, remember. These are all lights and stuff. What else would be on avionics? Why not place a AMC that reads engine RPS and turns on a relay when the engine's on? Everest, no problem, mate. What's an MC, Whiteland? Microcontroller. Well, you could do it that way, yeah. If you think about a real plane, though, they tend to have breakers for things like avionics. Right, so we want to disconnect that from the instrument relay. So that's only connected to the avionics. This needs to be disconnected from the main breaker. So those three power sucking things are now on their own breaker switch. That should help a lot, I reckon. Let's see how that turns out. Okay, so a little bit of battery gets used to open the door. Shut your main breaker on, and the battery's draining quite rapidly, which is unexpected, because it shouldn't until you do that. Except it really comes down when you do that. I thought we did the laser sensor. Well, you've not been paying attention. Look, the laser sensor is connected to one thing. Oh, I'll tell you what I did do. Broke the wrong connector. Avionics B, there we go. That's not the laser sensor. Are you serious? What am I? Okay. Dude, that is the laser sensor. It literally says laser distance sensor on it. That's the light. For some reason, I connected the light to the avionics as well, so I don't know what's going on now. That should be connected to...
Welcome to the Nut
we put on the main breaker, I guess. Right, so that's going to the main breaker. That's going to the laser distance sensor. Got it? Jack 201. Thank you very much for subbing, Jack. Another Jack in the nut house. Yay.
Right, I'll be back.
Right, zero drain. Main breaker.
Well, I was about to say I'll be back in about 40
We've
minutes.
still got
but I thought,
drained.
nah,
Carry on, you might as well.
I'll be right back.
What, you off? That's still going down. Why is that still going down? Compass is on the avionics. GPS is on the avionics. And the laser's on the avionics. Is that defaulting to off? I only have one GPS. We got rid of this one. We got rid of that one. We got rid of that one. We've removed 2 GPS systems. Okay, so the avionics has no power whatsoever. Where's the power going? Is it the gyro? I thought we worked out the gyro didn't take any power though. That gyro should be driven by the avionics anyway. I think the GPS sensor might be connected to 2 things. I'm pretty certain I've just looked at it a few times and it's not. There you go. The problem was the gyro. It seems the gyro takes power. Like quite a bit of it. There you go. So you put the main breaker on now, you have access to like lots of stuff, but at least you're manually controlling power drain at this point. But the moment you throw those avionics, it's just unbelievable how quickly the battery deteriorates. So now I know why the plane went flat ups.
Yep, go on.
The avionics just suck energy, like GPS sensor sucks energy, laser sensor sucks energy, gyro sucks energy, like really badly. You need to put it on its own breaker, otherwise it just steals your battery. Yeah, but we learned something, Captain Flint, and the next time I build any vehicle in this game, I will know to make sure I have a separate breaker for the avionics stuff. Because that's just nuts. Okay, so we don't need a button for avionics. Which is that one. Instead, power for these screens. Come from the avionics breaker. Maybe the avionics breaker should power all this stuff. Maybe the avionics breaker should power that relay. Depends how you want to split it up, doesn't it? Because some of this stuff, like the map zoom, is avionics, but some of it, winch connect, isn't avionics. But at least we can safely land and refuel and not have power drain now, which is definitely a good thing.
We're not going to go full Whiteland, otherwise the stream won't end on time. It's going to take 3 hours to unload a full tank.
How much are you loaded?
We're only loading 26. We was going to load 50 or 6, but it would take 3 and a bit hours to unload.
I think we should go for 40. I'm back, by the way.
Oh, I've just disconnected, so...
Oh no, reconnect it.
I mean, if you want to get anything else done...
Yeah, but once this is hooked up, we can just leave it, can't we?
As long as we don't have to reload. You just implemented a touchscreen on your map yesterday, zooming in out to small plus and minuses on the lower left. That's what I want to do. At the moment I've got buttons, but I'm going to script it so it does it better. There you go, when you throw the brake you get that. Let me know, do you want to like sleep for a mission or anything?
No, you're good for now.
Okay, just let me know. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward to do, to be honest. We can do it now if you want. Holy sub bomb Jaffa Cake!
Sub.
Mr. Jaffa Cakes, 20 subs gifted. Woo! Thank you, Jaffa Cake. Appreciate that. Thank you, mate. You just got a sub. Please give him a thank you, guys. That's very generous. Sub bomb hype. So if you look, that screen, the map screen's driven by my video controller over here. So if we go into this thing and look at the logic. So at the moment, the up-down buttons are controlling the pulse counter thing.
Welcome back, Nutter.
However, where did you keep the counter of your zoom level? That's my only question. Where were you actually keeping the value? Because at the moment it's outside of my script. It's in an up-down thing. Need to implement buttons first. Code is in the Lua module. Yeah, but how do you keep it? How do you keep the value?
So if we were to take 40,000, it'd be 2 hours.
How do you keep the
unload time.
value static between calls?
Yay.
It's the same up down thing. What in
And
the
if we
in
take
here?
30,000, it'll be a 1 hour and 25-minute unload time.
It's up to you.
So we'll take 30, yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
Welcome back.
and then it won't completely skint us as well.
Well, how do you
so-
make your Lua script change that then?
Oh, I've got my order in, pups.
Nice. I'll be placing mine soon.
Basically, you create buttons and then connect
I
them
say
to the
placing
up-down
mine.
module.
What I'll do is I'll bribe one of the kids with money and send them to the
Welcome
kebab shop because it's up the road.
What, you create physical buttons? Whiteland, how would you do it in the Lua block then? How do you keep this counter outside of the Lua script? Because the value has to persist between calls to the script, doesn't it? So how do you do that? Yeah, I know how to do the touchscreen bit. It's the variable. Where do we keep the variable? That's the bit I don't understand. Declare the variable outside of the function. As in... So if you declare a variable here, it will persist.
Welcome to the nut house.
Almost there, pups.
Woo!
Another 3 minutes.
Yay!
Or minute. No, a minute this end.
So if you do something like that, you have to put local. I thought local just was used inside the function block. Local's only when you're scoping it. This is going to be a global variable effectively, so I don't think local's required.
Welcome to the nut house. Welcome to the nut house.
So bomb is in the way. Hey, you can blame Jaffa Cake. Let's see. So we want the...
Welcome back. Nut
Oh, yeah, that's
So what we can
That's
do-
on the button.
We can use the... We can use that
Nice one.
Stormworks thingy to design it. We bring this up here. We can sketch out the drawing,
nut house.
how we want it. That's me messing around. So, line, whatever,
Oh, diesel's retracted.
indicator, light,
Yep. I'll
flip
retract.
switch, button rectangle, button triangle.
Welcome
Button
to the
triangle.
nut house.
Gotta admit, this is easier, right?
Yep. Did you take the anchor off?
I
Background
believe I
on.
did.
Welcome to
It's
the
not your
nut
fault,
house.
Jeff.
Visually
Okay.
off for me.
To go.
So we can use this to design the triangle bit, can't we? Size it. That, move it.
Welcome to the nut
We don't really want a
house.
triangle, do we? We want a plus and a minus. What if we just use a label? And say plus like that. There you go.
Welcome
Background,
to the
I
nut
don't know.
house.
Let's have a dark green. Size it.
Roughly 8k somewhere.
Yeah, do you want to go and do this Fisher person mission?
Border width.
Because we could sort of do that en route.
Whereabouts is it?
Well, we've got to go to the fishing village, which is this way. And then the drop-off point is admittedly in the wrong direction, but we've got enough fuel for it, so...
I mean, I could go and load in an old curly toes and do it while you go and.
Well, I was
Um,
just thinking about the passenger debunk.
Master
at that
DJ, I'm
end
fine,
would
thank
be
you.
a bit difficult to do from a chopper.
True.
That was the only thought. And we're not in any
Yeah.
hurry to get this on the unload.
it's not
are
quite
we?
centering that as I
No.
like.
What is it? That's 30,000, isn't it? We've put on.
Yeah.
That's the first war problem.
So it's sort of 100 minutes, maybe, if we're
Okay.
unlucky,
Oh my God, what's
or
it doing?
85 minutes if we're a bit luckier. So there's only really 15 minutes in it.
This resize is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Kind of space before the plus, I guess. So. Seems to make any difference. It's weird. Maybe just draw a plus with lines. Well, I could draw plus with lines. I was thinking of just drawing a character to make it easy, but for some reason, it seems to be like it's not centered. There's no option to center it. Alt 0160 is a non-breaking space. That seems to work. Size that now. See, now it's now it's on the right. The right hand of the box is slightly shorter, it would be centered. It seems like there's no defeating this. Let's just get it working. Yeah, we'll just do it in the code. I'll fix it in a minute. So we'll just create a little plus down there. We'll set this one up. We'll create a minus over here. Change the background color to be whatever that was. Border color was black, just to make it pop. And the label. Why is that not changing? Okay. I think that was bugged. Making little, oh, God's sake. Making little icons to use on our map zoom. This is way fiddly. I really hate the way when you drag it off the screen, it basically like compresses it down. So when you're trying to get something to line up at the edge of the screen, as you get near the screen, it just gets rid of it. It truncates it. Right, okay. So then generate Lua code like that. And if you go down here, it just generates a bunch of stuff for you.
When you stop, the hull of the boat was quite way in the water, isn't it?
Let's see, we'll just grab all that for now.
Yeah.
Actually, if it had made it a... I think you can make it a touch button, it does it for you. Twitch fan, can you take your 3-year-old chat somewhere else, thanks? Rectangle label. There's a way to get this. Is it button rectangle that does it? I think it might
We're
be the
good to go.
button stuff. I think it's this stuff that generates the code. Here's toggle false. There you go. What are you working on? Having issues in the build, can't figure out why. I'm basically generating some touchscreen stuff. Is what I'm doing. There you go. Is in rect. This is the bit that it generates for you. Right, so this is the stuff that it generated for us. Just tear it apart a little bit. Right, so what this is like the feed from the if you look at the standard stuff in here, if you map a video into this controller, it gets a bunch of things. This here, the composite output from monitors contains data interpreted by your script. So if we pipe the monitor's video feed into this controller, it will have access to this stuff here. Essentially. So if we go back to the design logic, we need to add a video input like that. Is that a composite input, Whiteland? I think you might be right. Composite input, right. Monitor in. It's actually monitor out, isn't it? This is like the touchscreen feed that's coming in. Which is that one there. You composite in X and Y from the GPS and then a video out. Now, if I connect that into the composite right, I need to take into account how many channels I've already got, right? So how does this work? If you have an in into the composite right, does it take them and then add on to the end of it? Twitch fan, I'm getting kind of bored of your childishness, mate. Either enjoy yourself or go somewhere else. And by enjoy yourself, I mean kick back and enjoy the stream. Your X will be channel 7, Y will be channel 8, right? So this has got how many channels coming through? 6, presumably. 6 plus the 3 that I want means 9 channels. Nope. 6 plus the 3 that I want. So I need to offset everything I've got, right? So where I've got this, I need to add 6 to it now. So that's 7, 8, and 9, presumably. Yeah. I tell you what, don't bother coming back from the bathroom. Enjoy the rest of Twitch, my man. Right. Just do everybody else a favor. So we want these. Yeah, he gets a golden ban. So this is what they call P1 is monitor resolution X, monitor resolution Y, and then input 1, input 2. Why does it have input 1 and input 2 exactly? You can only touch the screen in one place, can't you? Or can you... I don't get why you have two inputs. No, you can't really pinch in the game, can you? You can only touch. Yeah, so you've got the X and Y of the touch point. So what's this one? I don't know, Vroom. I don't think so. Also, why is this is P1, P2? Get bool. How can this be a Boolean? Surely that's that. On-off channel. Is it a corner and length? I don't know. The Boolean is whether you press it or not. Oh no, it says channel 1 is the monitor resolution X. So how can channel 1 be a Boolean? Doesn't make any sense. This I understand. This is the four numbers here. What have they got? Is pressed equals input.get boolean 1. Oh, are they really white then? Wait, so channel 1 contains both a boolean and an XY value. Wow. Okay, that's weird. So a channel can carry more than a single value. It can carry a button press and a number. Is that what you're saying? You got two channels, one for number, one for boolean. Right, okay. A boolean is a true-false value, Lotus. A boolean is just an on-off. Okay, well, I learned something then, so that's fine. I understand that now. So it's basically ignoring the monitor resolution is what it's doing, and it's just going straight for the P1, P2 thing. And then, of course, we're saying, so it's calling it I15 toggle. We'll just call it, we'll just call it is zoom in toggled and is zoom out toggled. We'll just do it that way. So in the on tick, they do this.
Happy anniversary, Natter.
Revons, thank you for 41 months. So it takes the value here which is input 1 pressed. So it's obviously got 2 input channels. I don't know why it's got 2, but it has 2. It's saying, did I receive a touchscreen press? That's the P1. Is P1? Yes. Is the touch that it got in this box here? Well, those coordinates are completely wrong right now. They need to be where our plus was. And our plus was down here. From there to there.
Why is it always dark when we get to destinations?
You fancy the building bit, but not the coding bit. I
Don't
understand that.
know.
So for now, we'll just say, is it between 53, 53... That's the width and the height, isn't it? So I think the monitor's 64 by 64, isn't it? So let's say you get like a 8-pixel wide box to click in. Then that should be 56, 56. Doesn't matter. So you're basically saying, did you press the bottom right-hand corner of the screen? Did you press that? Or... And then it's got, it is a P2. I don't know why it's got a P2. Why it's got a P2? I don't understand that bit. Does anybody know why there's a P2?
So me.
Yeah.
Like,
And P2 is a second monitor press. What second
Oh, well,
monitor?
You can swim across, can't you?
Is this so that you can chain 2 monitors together, Wyland?
I mean, to be fair, once it gets set up, it can be left anyway, can't it?
yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then is zoom in toggled is true. You think it's left and right? Ah, is that what it is? Left and right mouse click. That would make some sense.